Hello, back again with a springtime chat about the cool weather. We all know about that. I know everybody's got the same, but I've seen a lot of comments on social media asking why the plants are so yellow and not doing a lot. Well, it's basically just the cool weather. I've seen a lot of replies on there suggesting it's lack of nutrients, lack of nitrogen, but all these plants, the sweet corn, the French beans, and beyond it the squash, they all need good temperatures, in particular nighttime temperatures of around 10 degrees centigrade. So when these poor guys get stuck out here in 5, 6, 7 degrees centigrade at nighttime, they just really do not thrive. Now then, the warmth is due now to increase a little bit, so hopefully these guys will pick up. But I'll just take you over to my squash a second. And this is my squash. I never get a problem with these normally, and look at the state of them. You know, this is a real intolerance of the weather, and normally in these conditions they will thrive. In fact, they're actually basically dying off. They're rotted off at the base where it's nice and moist underneath the plastic, and there's no energy going through to the actual plants themselves. Please excuse the weeds. I've had a health problem again where I had a fall and bruised my ribs, and I've been on light duty for the last 3 weeks, and things are starting to catch me up a little bit. Anyway, enough of the complaining and moaning. We all get these setbacks, but one good thing was the sweet potatoes have turned the corner. Now, a couple of videos ago, I showed these all purple leaves, really looking grim as hell. And the nice thing is, because I put these stones underneath them, it seems to have really worked. So this one here is still a little bit purple, but the next two, where the stones are closer, they really seem to have responded well to the nighttime warmth. So it looks like that was a good tactic. Of course, I should have spent a bit more time and get that one actually right. That would have been a good idea. So hopefully the weather will pick up now, and things like these French climbing beans will get going. I think it's too late for the squash, so there's no squash for me this year. The potatoes are suffering from a lack of moisture because I haven't been up here watering. What a year. Well, nothing can be done about that. These silly accidents happen, can't be helped. The secondary potatoes, they seem to be putting on. The middle row looks to just about come to the end of its growing life. The outside and inside rows are looking pretty good, still producing. The Blue Danube potatoes are looking better. Yeah, so it's definitely a good potato year by the looks of it. Potatoes that are actually flowering, I will be going along removing the flowers. It only is a marginal difference to the production of the tubers, but even that marginal amount is worth it. Of course, you're robbing a food source from pollinators, but what I've done as a compromise is I've left the celery in that's gone to seed, and pollinators absolutely adore things like celery, carrots, parsnips that have gone to seed, because the flowers are tiny but full of what they need. And yeah, so there we are, all the flowers are gone, and this is my lovely wife actually giving me a hand planting out the celery into a bed that's got seaweed mulch and compost at the top of that to try and keep the seaweed damp, because seaweed goes a bit too brittle which it has done because it's been so dry, apart from last night, which actually had some rain, which is nice. Celly, of course, has got to be kept as damp as possible, so this bed will now be watered. I've planted out my marrows in amongst the new potatoes that have been harvested, and in this container that I had the garlic in, which really were mushy. These are all complete. Now in the polytunnel, the tomatoes haven't really suffered from the cold too much, which is a surprise. It's been just as cold out here, but it haven't been in the wind, so perhaps that's an aspect that I should have considered a bit more. Of course, they've suffered with a bit of neglect, and there's a fair bit of side shooting to do and getting their shoots up, but it's quick enough sorted out. Not a disaster yet. This one here is my double header that I'm doing. Instead of just one leader, I'm doing two. This is more in line with the American way. I'm only just trying it on the odd one or two. The rest I'm just doing it on the solitary stem, just to see what the results will look like. I mean, this is the typical normal way of growing things, that one there. I don't chop off any foliage down the bottom. So just a quick update about my health. 3 weeks ago, just over 3 weeks ago, I went through a rotten patio, fell 6 foot, catching my chest on the way down, and damaged my ribs and muscles. This is remained sore, got incredibly worse, terrible night's sleep. And it's just starting to get better now. And because I'm an idiot, about 5 days ago I decided I would turn my compost at home, despite this injury, against my wife's wishes, without her knowing, so I didn't get my mask to turn the compost. Of course, you know I'm allergic to spores. I know I'm allergic to spores. And the inevitable happened. I've asthmaed myself. A moderate infection that has resulted in a couple of days of not hardly being able to breathe. Chest infection. Doctor's visit. Checked out. All okay. So I'm back on the mend again. But it means my breathing is a little bit limited. Of course, now I haven't been up the allotment for at least 3 weeks. The wild weeds in this time have gone nuts. The crops have sold because they're hot weather plants, but the weeds have really taken hold. I was a little bit behind to start with because of this cold spring and not quite getting on with things and being a bit busy and all that lot. But now it's all gone nuts. So I hope I'll get better soon, because at the moment I can't even bend over without pain. So there we are, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Trying to stop coughing. Thanks a lot for joining me. Bye bye.